everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Funko Fusion. As the name suggests, this is a game featuring playable Funko Pop collectibles, and also because of this, it is of course a game using licensed worlds and characters from several different IPs. So with this in mind, let's first go over the gameplay. This is first and foremost a third-person shooter, just simply using characters from the licensed materials. While clearly taking inspiration from the LEGO games such as LEGO Star Wars, the game does take a more mature approach at a T for Teen ESRB rating. This is because the Funko characters regularly are being crushed, impaled, killed, or severely injured in some way, shape, or form. Also, some of the worlds the game takes you to are from R-rated movies like Hot Fuzz or The Thing. To boil down the gameplay, it largely consists of going into a level based around an IP, killing some corrupted enemies, solving some puzzles, and collecting a crown. If you're familiar with Super Mario 64, you can think of the crowns as stars from that game, since you'll need 45 in total in order to do the final story boss fight. And usually you'll have to replay levels in order to get crowns that you either missed or were unable to get your first time around. Outside of finishing the levels, a lot of the novelty of the game is of course surrounding being able to play as characters from all the different licensed IPs, just in Funko form. But let's answer the question now about what kind of story this game has. The story is easy to understand. Evil Eddy Funko has shown up and is corrupting other Funkos to do his bidding. After a harrowing near-death experience fighting Eddy, Funko Freddy tasks us with collecting the fragments of his crown that scattered across the various worlds before the crown was ultimately taken by Eddy. Thus begins our adventure of traversing all the worlds the game has to offer. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
All right, I got a question for you, Chris. And that question is, do you personally collect Funkos?
No, absolutely not. I don't know what the actual Funko I just played in this game. I mean, it is definitely so strange. I mean, yeah, when you look at the people that do collect Funkos, it's almost like they're hiding their toys in the attic, because especially when you're playing Funko Fusion, like 1 minute it's all cutesy with its all rated E for everyone vibes, and then next you've got Funkos that are getting your arms ripped off or some poor guy getting shish kebabbed on top of a church steeple. I was very confused on the age demographic for this game. Do you have a general thought on that?
Yeah, it is a little confusing. I mean, that's not a bad thing necessarily. I mean, it sets it apart from
Do you?
things
I
like
thought that was a bad thing.
Well, you know, it sets it apart from things like the LEGO games, which are definitely made for kids first and foremost. Like, this has that more mature approach, you know, but I will say, I don't collect Funkos either. I have a couple of them, but even then, I didn't buy them. They were gifts. You know, like, I don't go out of my way to go collect them. And
well,
maybe if
that's
I was
all
a collector,
this game's geared for.
Exactly. Maybe if I was a collector, I'd be a little more excited for this game because I'd be able to see all the Funkos that I have come to life. But I didn't necessarily get that sort of excitement out of that gaming experience in this, you know?
Yeah, it really felt like he was just trying to be a mirror image of like the LEGO universe and try to mimic every single style of gameplay that comes from the LEGO universe. And like, who thought of the idea of mashing up Hot Fuzz, Battlestar Galactica, and Scott Pilgrim was going to be the magic combo? Like,
well,
who's their target
that
audience?
actually is kind of cool that they were able to have those crossovers, you know, pay for the licensing agreements to make that possible.
But this game looks like it's meant for kids that are under the age of 13. Like, this game is more geared towards Gen Xers smoking their stogies who love space operas and have a thing for fighting evil exes, okay? This does not relate to the youth. And like, let's put it this way, Henrik. Did you hear the news about Paramount today? They're saying, hey, look, we're going to develop Rugrats into a live-action CGI hybrid film. Really? Seriously, who asked for this? Not a single young kid knows Rugrats. Us, the older adults, know it. Who are they trying to gear this for? I understand that they have 7 iconic TV series and films with cameos like Mega Man or Marty McFly showing up. Because sure, just throw everybody inside the toy box. But I think with the basic, you know, combat gameplay and really repetitive missions for a game that's $50, which really should feel like a $20 bargain bin special. You know, especially considering Helldivers 2 brought way more heat for just $40 earlier this year. It's problematic.
Yeah, I think while, you know, it is definitely the highest point for the game, to have all the collaborations and crossovers. That really is like the standout feature for this game. But compare that to the crossovers that even a free to play game like Fortnite does, or not even
You
just
nailed it.
Fortnite, like
You nailed it.
so many other games do crossovers
They're
nowadays.
doing the Marvel and the Fortnite crossover right now
Yeah,
for free.
exactly.
Yeah, you could buy
And
the
it's
battle
like
pass to collect
there's
the
less of
characters,
an
but
incentive to play this then, when
yeah,
you could easily
absolutely.
go play a free to play game like Fortnite that has so many crossovers and probably will have even more than what we've seen moving forward, because they have all these big plans for the future, so it just doesn't seem like, even for the people who want crossovers, that this was a game that was like a hit smash out of the park sort of experience
Well,
for them.
it just felt like when you play this game, they couldn't find their identity, right? I keep going back to the whole concept that I felt like
Mhm.
this would have worked better for kids, not for the older adults. And so they try to make that like cross in between each other, but then all of a sudden you get some of these like gory kind of violent scenes in the middle of like some cut scenes,
You
and
you
then
you really
and
think that
I think
the
that is a
Thing
problem.
was not the move to put in
Well,
there?
there's
1982 is the
no.
Thing.
Sorry, I know you're a horror fan,
It
Hendrik,
is
but no.
my favorite horror film, to be fair, but I do agree it was a little out of place.
See, you're starting to sound like a Gen Xer and not a millennial, okay? But like, yeah, it's cool. Like, you get to be running around each universe. You get to stumble across cool Easter eggs. Cool, that's all fun within the surprise. But honestly, it's just not enough to bring me back. And, they kind of try to do something different with the story campaign and Funko Fusion. I noticed that, you can start whatever mission you want. Doesn't matter. They don't really tell you which one's the hardest mission. It's almost like that Netflix series with Giancarlo Esposito. I don't know if you ever watched it,
Hmm.
Kaleidoscope. You can watch
Oh,
it in
yeah.
whatever episode in whatever order you want. But again, like you highlighted in your excellent pause and repeat video, there's a lot of backtracking, and that's kind of annoying. Like the Plucky Squire handled it perfectly. In this case, like we talked about last week, I don't know. Like Plucky Squire was a little bit more innovative because you get to flip back in the pages, go find the words that you were missing to go build a new sentence, to further along the story. This, I don't know. It felt like more of a task, and
Yeah, because
again,
you
it's just
are forced to go through levels, in order to actually get some crowns, and you do need to get a certain amount of them to finish the story. But rather than being forced to do that, maybe give it as an option,
yeah,
because then there's more of that intrigue to it, like, oh, what was behind that door that I couldn't unlock because I didn't
yeah.
have the character for it.
Well, unless
Makes
you're
you want to
walking
go back
into
and maybe see it then,
an
and then make
invisible
it
wall
more
in your place.
worse than just like, oh, you go open this door and now, oh, you have another crown you gotta get from doing that. Make it more interesting than that.
Well, there was a lot of opportunities that just felt kind of missed, like, you get these jump pads and, you could jump just as high as some of the gates, but you can't hop over them.
Yeah, because of the
Stuff like,
invisible walls.
yeah, so it's like that,
Yeah.
some of that kind of kills it, but like, you were telling me, do I collect Funkos? No. But I can only imagine there's people tuning in right now that are giant Funko fans. And let's put it like this. It's like your Funko collection. Sure, it's colorful and quirky. You might think it's cool, but let's be honest, it's best left on the shelf, okay? You
In the
nailed it
box.
perfectly. In the box, okay? No one's going to play this. But I guess I would say if it's on Xbox Game Pass in the future or maybe PlayStation Plus, it's definitely worth the look, but it's by far not a repeat. It's not there. It's a pause.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with that, because yeah, the whole game, it has replayability only because the game forces you to replay the game, and playing it again,
But is that
I
really
don't
a
think I'd
repeat
want to
though?
do.
Like, because you have to backtrack into some of those same missions. I guess, yeah, I guess I hear you with that one. You do have to go back. That's true. But
Yeah,
even
but
that felt like
that's
a pain
not
in the ass.
that's not me saying, oh yeah, it's a repeat. No, it's a
Yeah,
pause.
yeah. You're
I'm
not
like,
really saying a whole lot
majority
because
of
even
people, I could see majority of people not even finishing this game, to be honest.
well, the final boss is a bit lackluster. Maybe that's because when you look at some of these Funko sets, one, there's no voiceover artists like hardly ever throughout the game, and they don't even make
Yeah.
any facial expressions. At least with the Lego universe, and they kind of tweaked it a little bit when you would see like Star Wars or Indiana Jones or Pirates of the Caribbean. At least there would be a little bit of humor that wasn't really in the films, but they would
True,
add it
true.
to the Lego universe, would actually kind of give it a little bit more of a thrill per mission. This, it was like,
And that
gosh, so
actually is a good
bland.
point, because they probably could have used a little bit more character development for the villain, at least, considering
Yeah.
the villain is not from an IP. It's just like a mascot that the Funkos have.
See, that's something I miss. I know nothing about the Funko universe. So if that was supposed to be some, nefarious evil villain, a part of this toy collection, then they missed it because I clearly missed it.
Exactly.
I had no idea. But we haven't heard from you. Is it a pause or repeat, Henrik?
It's a pause. Definitely a pause. Yeah.
Hey, no hesitation. Hey, well, you heard it first, gamers.